The shadow self, architect of your hidden psyche, the disquieting thought lingers. If the most potent parts of ourselves are hidden, if our very wholeness demands this suppression, then what unseen architects have pulled these strings? This isn't just a fleeting insecurity. It's a profound philosophical and psychological dilemma, deeply rooted in the very structures of our being and the societies we inhabit. The hidden problem is this. Asterisk, asterisk, we are subtly but relentlessly conditioned to fragment ourselves, to exile aspects of our psyche that don't conform to an idealized, often unattainable, vision of self. Asterisk, asterisk, this conditioning doesn't come from some shadowy cabal in a smoke-filled room, but from the insidious interplay of psychology, philosophy, and our cultural inheritance, sculpting us from birth. Consider the insightful observations of Carl Jung. He introduced us to the concept of the shadow. This isn't necessarily evil, but rather the unconscious aspect of the personality that the conscious ego does not identify with. It's the sum of all the personal and collective psychic elements that are considered undesirable, unacceptable, or simply not me. These include our perceived weaknesses, our repressed instincts, our unexpressed desires, and even our latent talents that societal norms or personal anxieties deem too risky or inappropriate. Jung asserted that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Our reluctance to acknowledge our shadow means we project these disowned parts onto others or experience them through self-sabotage, inexplicable moods, or persistent internal conflicts. The hidden problem is that society, and by extension our own internalized filters, trains us to meticulously collect these undesirable traits and systematically cast them into the dark corners of our minds, ensuring they remain unseen. This creates a powerful internal tension, a psychic pressure cooker, as vast reservoirs of energy are spent not on living, but on maintaining this elaborate system of internal censorship. We become less whole, less integrated, less truly powerful, precisely because we are so busy hiding our complete selves. Friedrich Nietzsche, with his radical challenge to traditional morality, offers another lens through which to view this self-fragmentation. He often spoke of the will to power, not as a crude desire for dominance, but as the fundamental drive to overcome, to grow, to create, and to affirm life in all its messy complexity. Yet, how many of us truly embrace this raw, unadulterated will? Nietzsche lamented what he saw as the rise of a slave morality, where virtues like humility, obedience, and self-denial were celebrated over strength, self-assertion, and individual excellence. In his view, this moral framework, often internalized from religious or societal teachings, encourages us to suppress our more forceful, passionate, even dangerous impulses. We are taught to be good in a way that often means being weak, agreeable, and non-threatening. Our true power, the very vitality of our will to power, is deemed uncivilized or selfish, and thus relegated to the shadow. This societal pressure to conform to a prepackaged morality, to choose goodness over authenticity, is a subtle yet relentless force. It shapes not just what we do, but what we desire to do, making the fragmentation profoundly compelling. You might think you're choosing kindness and compassion, but are you also suppressing the necessary assertiveness or a healthy ego that is essential for your own well-being and growth, simply because society has implicitly deemed them undesirable or even evil? Arthur Schopenhauer painted a stark picture of human existence, viewing life as driven by a blind, irrational will, a ceaseless, insatiable striving that underlies all phenomena. For Schopenhauer, our conscious desires and choices are merely manifestations of this underlying, often chaotic force. If this is true, then our feelings of unique personality and individual desires are mere ripples on the surface of this vast, turbulent ocean. The hidden problem here lies in our inherent human aversion to this blind will's more primal, uncomfortable manifestations. We seek order, rationality, and control, and thus, we deny the irrational, the impulsive, the untamed aspects of this inherent will within us. We push these raw energies into the shadow, believing they are flaws to be conquered rather than fundamental expressions of life force. You might believe you're making a purely rational decision, but how much of it is driven by a deep-seated, unconscious imperative, a manifestation of the will to persist, to consume, to dominate, that you've simply masked with a socially acceptable justification? This perspective suggests that our deepest motivations, the very wellsprings of our hidden power, are not only unconscious but often actively disowned in our quest for a more palatable self. The pervasive genius of this hidden mechanism lies in its ability to shape asterisk identity, emotions, and human behavior asterisk without the subject ever feeling coerced. Instead, you feel a profound sense of authenticity, a belief that you are genuinely expressing yourself through your curated choices. Your values, your aspirations, your very sense of self, all meticulously cultivated within a framework that subtly directs your perceived freedom. The more you believe you are choosing, the less likely you are to question the unseen forces that define the boundaries of those choices. The tension escalates as you realize the implications. If our very identities are shaped by these invisible mechanisms, if our shadow holds the keys to vast untapped potential, then what exactly is it that we are protecting when we fight for our freedom? What greater implications lie beneath this veneer of integration, and how might the hidden power of your disowned self be revealed? The answer might just unravel the very fabric of your perceived reality, pulling you towards an uncomfortable but undeniably powerful wholeness. This constant internal battle, this self-imposed exile, carries unseen consequences, quietly dictating your personal and societal realities without your conscious consent.